Bismillah, alhamdulillah. Peace and power, family. Story time. I recall a time when I was a teenager, and this is in the 90s, when the Muslims were fascinated with this idea of seeking knowledge. And everyone wanted to learn about Islam, and everyone wanted to be a talib ilm, to be a disciple of knowledge, to be a student of knowledge. And that time, it was interesting because it was to the degree that it was almost like if you weren't a talib ilm, if you weren't attempting to be a disciple of knowledge, if you weren't talking like you were or whatever have you, it was almost like you weren't religious, right? Those two things were being equated. And this is actually almost regardless of what denomination you may be within the Islamic faith, right? And all this being the case, many of us were impacted by that. I was influenced by that. And we also had this idea that in order to truly seek knowledge, that one had to leave everything that one has here and go to a Muslim country where there is scholarship for as long as we're able to. And no negation of that, and no negation of that particular effort either. So it was like this. It was kind of like there was an effort to get as many books and read as much as you can. There was an effort to participate in different lessons and things like that as much as you can. There was an effort to, at that time, buy tapes and then CDs as much as you can. But all of this wasn't necessarily getting us the results we were kind of looking for in the people that we looked up to as an example of those who had successfully sought some knowledge before us. And we say that, knowing the different levels of the people and things of that nature. So I also recall posing a question in the late 90s to Sheikh Abdul Adim Bedoui, may Allah preserve him. And I was asking him about a person who wants to seek knowledge but is not able to leave the country in order to get to places where scholars are, in order to seek knowledge. And what should I do? And I recall the answer being, or at least most prominent from that answer, that knowledge has no time or place. And that was profound to me at that time, because it was a clear indicator to me that if we are going to be seeking knowledge, then we should get started now, regardless of what our circumstance is. And we shouldn't utilize the excuse that, I don't know Arabic, I haven't memorized the Quran, I don't have the money to get overseas, I wasn't accepted in the university that I applied to, or whatever it is, right? Knowledge doesn't have a time or a place. And now, 20 some odd years later, I have some experience, and I've learned that if you are successful and you do get into that university, or you are able to kind of put your life on hold and go to a different country, or you're just able to make that type of a shift like that in your lifestyle, and you finally get to that place where those people of knowledge are, where those scholars are, you still got to do the work. It doesn't just come to you just because you're there in that place. There's still things you have to do. And those things that you have to do there, a lot of those things you can get started here and potentially get a lot further than you think you can get. And I also find, generally speaking, that the people that were not putting in the work here, most of them were not putting in the work over there once they got there. Yet this kind of adds another thought, though. And during this time when we're all trying to seek knowledge and do these different things and trying to get as much Quran as you can from whatever Quran teachers may be around you at the time and learn some Arabic, and you're sitting in the classes in your local masajid and things of that nature. I also then learned that I didn't know how to seek knowledge. We're doing these things, but are we like really progressing forward on a trajectory that is getting us to a very specific destination? And for myself, when I was accepted into the Islamic University of Medina, also over 20 years ago now, at that time that I went there, I honestly only knew that we're supposed to do Quran, we're supposed to do Arabic with whatever those things meant. And I knew we were supposed to memorize Ajrumiyya, is a beginner's work in Arabic grammar. We are supposed to memorize the 40 hadith of An-Nawawi in hadith. And we're supposed to memorize Thalathatul Usul, the three principles. And that's all I knew. And that's pretty much all I was told from the different tulab ilm, from the varying disciples of knowledge that I had the opportunity to be around in the Americas in the late 90s, who were coming back and forth from different countries at that time. Some of them were in the Islamic University of Medina. Some of them were coming back and forth from Yemen, learning from Sheikh Muqbil, rahimahullah, and Damaj at that time. And others were in Egypt, studying with Sheikh Abdul Adin Badawi and other scholars that were around at that time. May Allah preserve all of our scholars that are living, and may bestow mercy upon all of those that have passed. But for myself, that's kind of all I got. So I get over there, and I start sitting in the lessons, right? You start sitting, these names that you see in books, or these names or on books, authors of books, these names that you hear different students talking about in Medina now, and can begin sitting with some of them or meeting some of them or being in academic gatherings, things of that nature. You're in school and you're beginning to learn some Arabic and things of that nature, but I still didn't know what to do. So for me, I actually spent my first year in seeking knowledge, learning how to seek knowledge, and went very heavy on the adab of the talib ilm, on the etiquette of the student of knowledge, the epistemology of the disciple of knowledge, just trying to figure this out, right? Books, tapes, asking questions to different people and things of that nature. And I can definitely say one thing in hindsight, that there is nothing more important than Quran and Arabic, and in that order. And when you learn enough Arabic and you learn enough Quran to begin to function, you want to get into the books right away, start buying books and reading books. You want to get into the lessons of the scholars and things like that. You want to start memorizing matun, memorizing small index-like books. You want to do all that, and you should. But what I learned is that if you were to take the time to focus on Quran until its completion, if you were to take the time to focus on your Arabic until you become more than proficient, right? And till you become very grounded in your Arabic and things like that, that this actually expedites your ability to learn. And in the beginning, it may appear that others around you are moving faster than you, or having experiences that you're not, able to have, and things of that nature. But once you get those two out of the way, it will purchase you years of time later on, where you're able to move at a much faster pace than other people in your memorization, in your understanding, in your ability to interact with scholarship and interact with the text. So I say all this to say that for those of us that are still in that mindset, still on that path, I know there are many of us that wanted to have the opportunity to get overseas and study, but we didn't have that opportunity the way that we wanted. Or if we got over there, we weren't able to stay as long as we wanted to, or because of the way that we were there, we weren't able to focus on seeking knowledge the way that we wanted to. And, you know, we may think that it's over. We may think that we don't have the opportunity the way that we should, but the opportunity is still there. And, you know, for those that are interested in that, you can look in the link in the bio or in the description, and somewhere over there, you're going to click on a link and you're going to come across a work of mine, Become a Disciple of Knowledge, because I wish that when I was 16 years old, that I had something like that, that someone could have shared with me, that was pretty particular in how to go about this and see kind of where the path goes. So continue seeking knowledge, continue being a disciple of knowledge. There is no time, there is no place, there is no age limit. There is only the virtue, only the blessing, only the act of worship in seeking knowledge. من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيه علما سهل الله له به طريقا إلى الجنة. Whoever traverses a path seeking knowledge therein, then Allah will make easy for him a path to paradise. So all that still holds. And it's not about necessarily how far you get upon that path. It is just about being upon that path. Collect your thoughts. Assalamu alaikum.